Hey guys, what's up? This is ScherBR talking. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'll make a full review for the best banner to ever arrive in Romancing SaGa UniverSe. But this banner may not be for you, it depends. If you are a new player, you should totally pull on this banner to get some key characters. If you are a veteran and you got most of them, or at least the most important ones, maybe it's good to look into the future. But I'll be talking about the most important ones, so check them out first till you decide. But this banner is amazing. First of all, we have a lot of different festival styles. And the cut point here includes some of the best styles we have been using in the game. And we have 10% chances of getting an SS, and you will be able to pity a character with only 33,000 gens. Or you can also use the paid jewel cycle. I don't think this one is so worth, because in the end it's more for those that just want to choose 4 specific characters. You can only run this once. And if you are missing out on too many, I suggest you to use free gens, because then you can get many different styles by accident and they will still be useful somehow. This banner, like I said, is the best banner this game ever got because of the value and the number of useful units. So here we are on the selection, and I have to say that this is gonna be a problem because there's just so many good characters released in this period of time. Some of them are meta, and we start with Leon. Yes, he is a really strong character, will keep being relevant. Even when you are not using this style, you'll be using the skill that you inherit from this style. That one being Wind Revolver. This character can attack like 6 times after loading his gun, and that is really strong damage. And he covers blunt, slash, and cold damage by himself. Then after this Leon, we have to go after Matriarch number 4. Because this is the general best version of Matriarch, because she can buff and also use Penal Protection, a skill that gives you an evasion and heals with a very cheap cost. So the latest version of Matriarch in the newest banner is the best buffer, but this one is still the better general usage Matriarch. After Matriarch, we're going to go after the Polka's family, and let's just see where they are. Rag Robin. This is the best healer in the game. This character has a skill called Steelblade Phoenix, and it's 9 VP, heals, and taunts. If you are planning on summoning on the new Polka family banner, you have to get Rag Robin. Without Rag Robin, well, you don't have the full kit. He will not be so strong. So after that, we have the first character in the top, and that one is Time. Because Time has Call Rose, this is a skill that buffs 4 different status, gives guard up, and when he gets to overdrive, he heals everyone. He's the best companion to Polka in many different situations. And after Time, there is Global X Silver. Well, we may already have UDX Silver that is better for long fights, but this one deals different types of damage. She is focused on blunt and sun, so you can use them together or just inherit skills between them, and having all versions of Silver will be a very good investment in the long run. Stopping here, we have the best choices, the tier number 0. There are still other characters that are so good, but I can say that these ones I mentioned are worth a pity, even if you have to spend 33,000 gens. And if you summon for more than one cycle, you probably get some of them in the middle. Now, after that, we have Rouge. That is really good damage dealer, but also a BP battery to the party. He can also revive. It's a character that works pretty well in some hard challenges. After this guy, we have Chooser. That is the best damage dealer that does not sacrifice LP for long fights. He deals both slash and pierce. On the pierce category, he is one of the best options for the long run, and he self-heals, self-buffs, pretty sustainable character for hard challenges. And the other character is Christmas Final Impress, because she's one piece of the whole kit of Final Impress. You need the Global X style and the Christmas style. The Christmas style works well for farming, but it gives Christmas Moon to Global X. So she has Scrum Guard as passive, and then she can apply Christmas Moon to give another defense boost and use the shield that negates all damage. Very useful in hard challenges, still use her a lot. So this is the first tier of the selection. After that, we have plenty of good characters as well, but it kind of depends on what exactly you want to get from here. Since you are still spending lower amounts of gems and you can kind of keep summoning, Kid Monica is a good resource. Why? Because she works with Bloom Rain on Bow Remembrance. Even sometimes I use her on real challenges because she buffs 2 different status heals as well. And you can pass the bow skills into her rapier styles, helping out in 2 different remembrance types. After this version of Monica, we will have Leonard, because this character here is really strong for farming. If you are a new player, you're gonna get a lot because he can solo without much difficulty. So Lion Dash is a really strong attack, but he's not made for hard challenges. He's a character that just does do damage and farm by carrying plenty of units to train. After that, we have to go for some Global X styles, with Diana being a very good one. She has this Prayer for Peace skill that buffs Endurance, Will, Heals and Cleans. She is very sustainable, has high protect tension, self-heals twice, self-buffs, and can be used when you need a reviver as well, besides just buffing. I used her on Egg when it was released and she helped a ton. After Diana, I recommend the second version of Nalao's Daughter, but only if you already have the first one. It's always nice to have Water Festival buffing all 8 status and giving defense boost in 1 BP. She helps the cycle of some characters with high costs and just increase the survivability of your party. Also works super well for Remembrance. Then we have another buffer, and this guy here is a little different. There's only one style, that is iToken, and iToken has a fast buff, so he will buff before your damage dealer. And he also buffs Love, so he energizes well with Meteoric Pin of Peace. You can also choose to just heal and cleanse, sometimes this is helpful. And iToken just works super fine with counter mechanics, since he is the only buffer that will be placed in the back row and buff the counter unit before it even attacks. And after iToken, we have another character that has only one style for now, Eagle, and she has a skill called Wicked Hatcher that is fast, hits for 8 power with 10 BP, and she recovers a random value between 1 to 10. She is the best shadow damage dealer. Final Island works super well on Remembrance. She revives, has Shadow Haste to debuff STR. She's probably one of the best STR debuffers, and can also apply Attack Down, a character that works super well and will still be relevant for the time being. After Eagle, I believe we can go for Global X Liza, because she is a really strong character for Remembrance. Can work for some situations where you have to use characters from limited series. Wave Rush is really strong, and I recommend getting this Liza if you have her newest summer style, because with that version you can use Wave Rush 3 times in a row. For farming or for Remembrance, she's going to lead the damage of your party. The next character is Arthur, and he's still a pretty strong damage dealer, although not as useful for events. He solos some stages for story, and for newcomers you can just run many stuff on auto by use of Infinite Trajectory. He always chases that with Talon for plenty of strong damage dealer on turn 1, and then after that on new waves he will always follows, but with weak damage. He self-buffs on start of turn. That means that he can even be used for Remembrance if you're lacking options there. The next one is Arpina, and she's a really good damage dealer, but also a counter specialist, but requires having the UDX style that has Crossbreak and Torrent. That allows her to do very strong damage and also become the strongest counter attacker in the game. Then there is Robin Joe. She is a really strong farmer for one-wave scenarios with her Sparkling Eyes. Even in story mode she can attack on turn 1 and then on turn 3. She gets paralyzed, but if you kill the enemies it doesn't really matter. She also has a Headbutt skill that debuffs intelligence without any cost. Headbutt can help her newest style if you are planning on summon that, and Robin Gal will always be used for farming. Then we have Cross Jamil. This one gives Strong Guard decreasing damage by 20% to the party. You can also use Lage Step that gives 12% Guard up, 15% Morale up, and can even inflict Charm on a fast skill. The thing is, this works super well in Wuhan Remembrance and will still work in all Remembrance battles as a defensive support. And if you have the bow version of Jamil, you can inherit Late Step to give support and also make Remembrance easier against Wuhan. Another interesting option is the tank version of Gustave, because this one has steel dominance that applies a defensive stance that decreases spell damage. He's also a Scrum Guard user, but he clashes with the newest version of Tsubaki. So if you miss it out on her, getting this Gustav will just feel almost the same shoes. Now we move into the tier number 3 for styles that are not exactly must-haves, but still have some type of niche or depends on inheritance. Well, we have the Valentine version of Matriarch because she has this skill called Sweet Way that inflicts charm, making remembrance easier when you are dealing with Wuhan, or Pin of Heartthrob that has a lot of different effects, but it costs 12 PP. If you are summoning for the latest Matriarch in the current banner, she is capable of using Pin of Heartthrob well in some very specific challenges. You can store BP and use this many times. Can be game changing, but it's not like you really need this Matriarch anyway. There is also Khan, a character that has a really strong attack that opens and hits 3 times and even has counter mechanics. He's also a character that buffs will and increases resistance to poison and unconsciousness. Another one is the Halloween version of Silver, and she has a skill called Acrobatic Thunder. If you got UDX Silver, this skill allows her to become a full lightning damage dealer, and that also gives you cross inheritance. You can get either from UDX or from her Global X style that chains attacks and make Great Sword Remembrance much easier. The next, if you summoned for the newest Matcha, you can go for this one because she has Earth Heal to revive people around, or Divine Tree, where she just attacks 2 times and recovers 2 times. She has 4 BP per turn, meaning that she can use this skill every 2 turns. The healing is not as good as Polka, but she can help depending on the fight. Now, if you have at least one other version of Dark, you can choose either the Global X1 to complement, because you need many Darks to get the full potential. This one has this 4S attack that can be used for farming, and he keeps defense down when he attacks weak targets. And he also has a 3-turn AoE attack that can instant kill. You can choose either this one or the other one that you find here. Well, this one is a Colon Specialist, but to go after Dark, I suggest you to go for at least 2 pieces. If you have one, you can go for the another so that it complements. Speaking of characters that rely on inheritance, this version of Goddess is really good, but she requires having the first version of Goddess. Without it, I would not recommend. This character can apply an attack and defense boost when she heals, and she has an AoE heal by inheritance. Without it, it's just too limited. There's also Talon, a character that works pretty well if you have Enya, because then he can just go and use Missile Cannon 3 times in a row for farming, and it will work for both events and story. The same can be said by Virgil. He is a strong damage dealer, but if you have his first style, they complement each other, but they are not meta anymore. They are more for fun than anything else. Then Misty is another damage dealer that just works, because she has both Slash and Pierce, but she is actually an intelligence-based character. She works in different formations, and that can help you depending on how you tackle content. She also has a very strong attack that deals damage to the party, but that doesn't matter if you are just farming. The next one can be Aunos, a character that was really helpful in some boss fights that were just focused on doing heat damage, since he negates and applies a regen spell the last 3 turns. Well, for X Remembers, we don't have that many options. Aunos is very fragile right now, but his next style can inherit Flame Barrier, and he will be much more useful. Still talking about Remembrance, we have another X user, Ogniana, that can heal and apply Heat Up, and she can also boost STR and Agility. We don't have any other healer for X's right now, but we'll get one other in the future. If you're having difficulty, she's going to help a lot. Still talking about Remembrance, there is Summer Trees, a really strong damage dealer for bones. We have a strong attack that hits twice and self-heals, and another attack that just hits a row of foes. And it will work super well depending on the Remembrance boss you are facing off, and we don't have that many options for damage with bow. You can use robbing list or the newest list, but you always need more pieces. Still on the topic of remembrance, Kid Mikhail is actually really good for damage. He can self-heal, has a strong column attack, and also uses Stingray as a full AoE attack. If you have his Global Axe style, you can inherit an attack that hits 4 times a self-heal. Well, Mikhail is pretty sustainable if you are missing out on damage dealers for Rain Pierce. And if you miss it out on the New Year version of Golden Ball, this one also works, although I prefer the first. The difference is not that big, so if you happen to get this version of Golden Ball, you are also set. Now let's talk about Robin Girl. Well, she is still strong, can solo some remembrance content, but if you are planning on summoning on the newest Liz banner, well, that version almost completely replaces this Robin Girl, so you'll not be using this version too much, although it can still be better on some situations where you can counter attack more often. Well, there are still other styles that I didn't mention on this video, but I cannot talk about every single one of them, or this video will be half an hour long or even more. So I try to focus on the most important ones at least. Now back to the banner image. Is this banner worth summoning for? Of course, but it depends on what I said on the start. If you are a newcomer that started the game in the last 6 months and you missed many of the styles, totally go here, even for 2 cycles, to try to get some of the key characters. If you are a veteran that missed out on some very important styles, the ones that I mentioned on the list, well, you can go here and do the same till you get some very important styles like Metroid Number 4, Dyne, Rag Robbing. Those styles are extremely worth the value. Remember that you only need 33,000 gens in order to pity, and many of the accident pulls you get here will still give you some value. So this banner will receive a Diamond Award. I don't know, this is just above any type of standard. So what do you think about this all? Have you pulled it? Wish you luck. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you still have it. If you want to support the channel, there are other links on the description of the video. Hope to see you soon in the next one. Bye.